Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chris again, setting up for segment number 2. I got my Gwinnett Braves hat on, so you already know what is going down. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be talking about the MLB for this segment. This is the CD show coming to y'all via YouTube. Hopefully, y'all are watching, y'all tuning in. Once again, just want to say on this segment, we got the blogs out there. We got 3 blogs out there: one on college football, one on NBA, and one on the NFL. I'm not going to be covering the Major League Baseball, but I will be talking about it in the CD show through the videos throughout the entire semester, if you want to call it, or the entire rest of the season for the MLB, because the MLB now is winding down. You know, we're getting into mid-August, into the late August, and everybody knows that the end of September, that first week of October, is playoff baseball time. I'm a huge Padres fan. Okay, I have 3 teams. They're all in the National League: Padres, Cubs, Braves. That's what I do. I love the Padres, but I know they ain't going nowhere this year. So I got to ride for my Cubs. So, you know, I have family in the Chi, so I definitely got to represent them. Definitely got to make it do what it do and represent them. I'm not a White Sox fan, though. No White Sox. You either Cubs or White Sox. You ain't both. You know, that's like being an Atlanta Falcons fan and rooting for the Saints. You ain't doing that. You ain't going to be both. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. I'm loving this baseball season, though. I love Chris Bryant. I love the Cubs. The Cubs are obviously the favorites. Picking up Chapman really helps. But there's a few teams that could derail them. You know, the Nationals can derail the Cubs. They're a very good ball club, led behind Bryce Harper, Scherzer. They have Gio Gonzalez. He's not pitching as great this season, but Scherzer and Strasburg are clearly a 1-2 punch that can definitely derail the Cubs if they were to match up in the playoffs. The Cubs have great pitchers on their own. They have Arrieta, they got Lester, they got Lackey. Lackey hasn't been pitching as well lately, but Lester and Arrieta is a great 1-2 punch as well. That would be a dynamic series if they were to match up, no doubt about that. Some of the other intriguing things that I think in the MLB is this year the MLB got a chance to host the All-Star game in my hometown. I say Chicago's my second hometown because that's where my family's from. That's where I was originally born. But I lived most of my life in San Diego. So I rep San Diego because that's where I grew up. San Diego held the All-Star game this year in Petco Park, which I'm very familiar with. It was a wonderful scene. The AL won, so now they have the home field advantage. And speaking of the American League, another intriguing thing about that is the defending champion Kansas City Royals. They don't look like themselves. They don't look like they're gonna make the playoffs. They don't have the same kind of fire that they had last year. The team is just not that great. Their pitching staff is really been depleted. With Cueto leaving to go to the Giants, they just don't have that number 1 ace that they need, and they don't have enough bats in the lineup that they need as well. They're not looking very good in the Central. The Indians are looking great out of the AL. I like them a lot. And then you also have to factor in the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are looking pretty good too. Texas and Houston, they're going to vie for those positions in the AL West. They're looking pretty good. I love Houston as a team. I really do. I think they have a great management team there. I like the fact that they have balance in their lineup with power and speed. Doug Fister went there to try to help them out from the Nationals and went there to Houston to try to help this team out. I think they're going to be absolutely dynamic if they can get into the postseason. I don't like their record against Texas. They're going to lose a record against Texas. They're going to have to switch that up because they have a lot of games remaining against the Rangers. In order for them to win this division and overtake them or even get to the wild card, they're going to have to even that up or close the gap between the win-loss between Texas and them. No doubt about it. I love the Toronto Blue Jays, despite the dust-up that Gibbons and Donaldson have, Donaldson being the reigning MVP from last year. I love the Blue Jays. They just have a solid team. They have solid pitching, and they're a team that's going to be reckoned with in the AL, along with the Cleveland Indians, who I also think can get in there. The Yankees, they're okay. The Baltimore Orioles, they're pretty good. The Red Sox, their whole AL East is pretty good and pretty solid. But let's just be real. Let's just be 100. We know that the NL is going to win the World Series this year. Yeah, I'm being biased. I'm being a homer. But you got the Giants. They're back with Cueto, Bumgarner, and they have some bats. And if you get them back there, they won it 2 years ago by beating the Kansas City Royals with a Bumgarner. You also have the Cubs. You have the Nationals. Don't forget about the Dodgers either. Dodgers are in there. They can get into that playoff. They can do some damage as well with Kershaw being absolutely dominant. Losing Greinke did hurt that team a little bit because they're behind the Giants. Greinke went to the Arizona Diamondbacks, got paid a lot of money, but the Diamondbacks have been great when he started. They've been awful when he hasn't, which you expected that to be. I expected them to be good when he started, but he wasn't all that good. He wasn't all that good, unfortunately, or I should say, was good when he started, but wasn't as good when he wasn't on the hill. And that's just my opinion on the baseball. However, with that being said, my eventual World Series champion, I think the Cubs are going to break the 108-year curse that they've had. Hadn't won one since 1908. Haven't even been to a World Series since then. It's been absolutely tough for them to get to there. They've gotten the NLCS so many times, but this is the year. They have the talent, they have the youth, they have the experience from last year getting to the NLCS and having the Mets beat them. The Mets are a good team. And 9 times out of 10, they will probably be in the playoffs. Probably. But they got a lot of work to do. Matt Harvey. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry about that. I had an incoming call. Don't worry about that. We keeping this live, baby. This is the series. It's live. This is the CD show. I'm hollering at y'all. But back to it, I don't think the Mets are going to get to the postseason. Only 5 teams can make it. I have the Giants, the Dodgers, I have the Cubs, I have St. Louis, and I also have the Nationals. Those are the 5 that I have. I think 2 of them going to come out of the Central, 2 of them going to come out of the West, and 1 come out of the East. The Nationals are the runaway favorites in the NL East. Speaking of the NL East, you can't talk baseball without talking the Atlanta Braves. Obviously, I haven't gotten a chance to go to the TED yet, but I will go to the TED. I got a couple dates lined up to where I'm going to go to the TED for the very final time before the Braves next season in 2017 move into SunTrust Stadium in a new location here in the ATL. Absolutely 20 years of blissfulness in the TED. I loved going there every time. I also love the fact that they've always done all-you-can-eat seats. I love that. I'm a big man, so I love to get my eat on. You understand me? So definitely enjoyed that. And enjoyed some of the games that I went to. Enjoyed seeing the Yankees there. Enjoyed seeing the Red Sox there. My Padres when they came to town. Enjoyed the time that I went with my school to go to the games as well. It's just a great atmosphere, obviously. And one of the best stadiums I've ever been in. That stadium will now turn into the Georgia State football stadium as of next year. They will start using that stadium as well. The MVP race is heating up. You got to talk Bryce Harper anytime you talk MVP race. Chris Bryant got to be in the mix for the MVP race in the NL. In the AL, you definitely got to go with Donaldson. He may win it again in the AL, but don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if the AL comes out in the Indians. And the Indians come out with an AL person, or if Texas come out with an AL person. Texas has been absolutely solid this year, but like I said, it's a long season, 162 games of a grind. You have to be able to know what your body can do, what your body can't do, when the rest guys, when not the rest guys. Like I said, this is late August, and this is when teams start to push. The trade deadline is coming up. I think that some of the trades that have been made have been very beneficial. The Yankees got rid of a lot of pieces on their team to go with the youth movement. Carlos Beltran coming over to Houston is a huge time move. I think it provides another power hitter for them, and it provides him a chance to get back into the NL, where he was with Houston originally and St. Louis. I do think that the 5 teams that are going to come out of the AL, I think, are Toronto, the Indians, Texas, Houston, and that 5th one's a toss-up. Because it's not going to come out of the Central, I don't think. It's going to come out of the East. It's either going to be the Orioles, Red Sox, or Yankees. One of those teams, I feel, is going to come out. I don't think 3 teams come out of any division this particular season, but I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to Wrigley Field. That is one of my dreams. It's one of my things that I would love to do. I would love to go to Wrigley Field. I would love to be able to see a Cubs game. I have not been to a Wrigley Field game. The plan is definitely to go there to a Wrigley Field game because I love the Cubs. And I especially would like to go sometime in October. We have that in the making. We have that in the plan. So, like I said, we'll continue to keep updating you on the MLB. Of my perspective, of what I feel it is, and what I think is going to happen. Like I said, the Cubs are my favorite to win the World Series this year. Who they will match up against, that I do not know. I believe it's the Toronto Blue Jays because I think it's about that time. They had a chance and took the Royals to 6 games before they eventually bowed out to the eventual World Series champion. I think the Royals are prime and ready. They got everything that they need to make a run. But I think the youth movement and the fact that the Cubs have better pitchers as a collective whole will ultimately doom the Royals and be able to win the series. The Toronto Blue Jays, my apologies. That's the matchup I think will happen. Blue Jays versus Cubs, although Blue Jays will have the home field advantage for winning the All-Star game in San Diego in the Midsummer Classic. All right, y'all. This is the end of segment number 2. We got 2 more to go. So I'll holler at your boy with the Gwinnett Braves hat on. I'll see y'all. Peace.